So my next topic, and this is the one we'll probably have some, and I'm not even going to get into siding with one side or the other, more just discussing the phenomenon that is Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton and basically the entire election cycle. To me, and again, I wish I had other choices, period. So
Amen.
Let's preface this by saying that I love it that you guys have your own views, and I love it that you guys want to vote who you want to vote for.
Even if they're stupid. No, I'm just kidding.
Right. I literally, if someone came up to me and said, I'm voting for someone different than you, I really don't care. It doesn't bother me. Like, I think it's cool, like whatever. And I never try to challenge, like, well, why do you shouldn't believe that way, or try to change someone's mind. If that's what they want to believe, it's totally fine. It doesn't affect me in my personal life, so I'm not really going to let it, bother me. But I have to get something off my chest. Two things. Hillary Clinton is not the devil reincarnated, and Donald Trump is not a war criminal Nazi. So let's stop pretending like we are, higher than thou, and that the side that you want to win the election or that you believe in is a saint, and the other thing is the second coming of hell to earth. Okay, because at the end of the day, Hillary Clinton is a career politician that probably has a lot of experience dealing with situations and with politics and policies and passing laws, and she's not a monster. Guess what? People call her a liar. All politicians are liars. They all have to lie. That's kind of like the thing, or else you get toasted.
Yeah, but she lies a lot.
Right. She lies a lot, which I'm sure a lot of people in Washington do.
So does Donald Trump, though.
Yes. But on the other hand, just like Hillary Clinton is not the devil and evil and this monster that everyone says, if I see one more meme or a GIF or anything on the internet on my Facebook profile saying like, Donald Trump wants to kick out all the immigrants. So did Hitler, and it shows a picture of like them two together. It's like, come on, guys. At the end of the day, just like Hillary Clinton, if she got elected, would be a career politician and might do some shady things like any other politician would do. Guess what? Donald Trump's going to be the businessman that he has been his whole life. He's going to probably pass things and do things to his liking, and that he might see benefit himself in the future and other businessmen like him in the future.
Right.
Basically, neither one of them are a gift to the world, and neither one of them are the worst thing in the world. So whoever you like, I don't care. I know who I'm voting for, which I'm not even going to put it on this video because it's not really a big deal, and that's not the point of the topic is who you're voting for. It's more of just let's calm down. I mean, it is
you better
ridiculous.
Not vote for Hillary Clinton. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you better not. Like, I see all these.
Just kidding.
For the most part, I'm not saying this is the same for every person in the entire world, but for the most part, guess what? The majority of your friends on Facebook generally have the same beliefs or general ideologies as you. And so a lot of times when you post these things trying to change people's mind, do you really think you're going to change anyone's mind? Do you think a Donald Trump supporter, when he sees a Hillary post saying all these things that Donald Trump does bad, is really going to be like, wait a minute, I've made some mistakes. Maybe I should vote for Hillary. That's not going to happen, and the same isn't going to happen in the other direction. So let's just stop. Vote for who you want to vote for, whoever you think is best, and let's get over this hatred and back and forth arguing. What do you think about all this nonsense, Sean?
Well, I remember I was in 2008. I was just old enough to vote in the 2008 presidential election. McCain and Obama. One of the weirdest elections I think we've had in years because, John McCain was a lame candidate. He, in so many ways, he was a poor choice for the Republican candidate. I think they did a poor job campaigning. I actually helped pass out absentee ballot request forms for the Republican Party because I did not think Obama's policies were good and all this stuff. But I remember even then, it seemed like there was a change kind of in the atmosphere of the American people and how they talked about politicians. And when social media was really starting to take a huge hold. I mean, Facebook had become very, very big. You know, then down the road you've got like Snapchat and Twitter and Instagram, all these things. But it seems like we aren't progressing in any sense of maturity in how we deal with one another when it comes to politicians. I will admit, I get pretty heated about some of these things on Facebook myself. I'm guilty of kind of blowing these things out of proportion. I think how we got here in terms of like, you know, between Hillary or Trump, I think, well, you know, Trump, he basically, he is representing a lot of frustration that conservatives, Republicans have, even some Democrats have, with politicians in general. There's an obvious bias, there's an obvious corruption on both Democrats and Republicans that go to Washington and they don't do what they say they're going to do. They just sit there. I have no idea why we don't have term limits on senators, by the way, because some of these guys need to have been gone for a long time now. Hillary, she I believe has gotten to where she is in this race. I actually think that she kind of, I really actually feel bad for Bernie Sanders, because I feel like Bernie Sanders had a much more interesting message, and I think that he represented some ideas that were more popular. He in my mind, I didn't think he was a great person to lead our country, but he didn't have as quite a checkered past as Hillary did. But Hillary represents a lot of ideas of progression about, obviously, women being in office, things like that. And the Clinton name, as bad as it is in history, is somehow still very popular. I have no idea how people revere the Clintons as these amazing people, because, you know, America, yeah, did great during Bill Clinton's presidency, but people forget that the presidency is not the primary thing that pushes our country forward. He's just part of our government. So Bill Clinton can't take responsibility for all that. So I don't know. In terms of how we got here, it's hard to say. I'm actually pretty amazed at how many people have supported both, because you know, Hillary Clinton, to me, I think she's the epitome of corruption in politicians. Like you said, she's a career politician. Donald Trump, he is the most outlandish, brash-sounding person I've ever heard, like in entertainment or media, anything like that. He's just, yeah, I agree with a lot of what he says, but the way he delivers it is just so, like, you know, what am I supposed to say to that? I mean, it's like, this is not how I would talk to another person. This is not how you have a conversation with somebody. It's not. But you know, just at the outset, 2016 is going to be one of the most interesting years for the presidency, I think, ever. To one of the most in our history. It's going to be a crazy election. It got really ugly during the primaries, and it's going to get only uglier in the next few months. So, but yeah.
Well, I just want to say one thing before we go. I think it's wonderful. I mean, Hillary, she's terrible. She kind of brings all her baggage, and she's a career politician. Corrupt Hillary. I mean, I like her. You know, we're good friends, but I just can't have her. And the way they treated Bernie, it just wasn't. I appreciate you saying that. I appreciate everything that you do.
Are you doing Donald Trump? Is that what you're
No, well, that was Donald Trump. This now is Bernie Sanders.
Oh.
And
you gotta get more of the New England accent in there. Hillary Clinton has made a career out of justifying her actions. She voted for the war in Iraq. She is a career politician. 19% of Americans don't even believe in what she's saying. That's more of Bernie Sanders. But yeah, I like yours too.
Well, I will say, let me just be clear. I do agree with 90% of what you said. The one thing I don't know about is how either of them will follow up such a great speaker like Barack Obama. I feel I am the greatest president since George W. Bush.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy, man. I'm not happy about it. I was a huge Carson supporter. I love Ted Cruz and Rubio as well. So I was pretty bummed to see that Trump just destroyed them in the primaries. Ted Cruz actually held his own for a while, but just
I think it was the booger that did Ted Cruz in, the one that he ate on in the middle of the debate there. I remember sitting there with my wife, and I said, "What, Chris? What's that?" Someone needs to whisper to him or something. What's that on his lip? And they won't go away from him on camera. And I know some cameraman is just like, "I'm going to stay on this guy until he does something with that thing."
You know, I honestly think, remember earlier in the primaries, Ben Carson was actually beating Donald Trump for a while. And Ben Carson also was a non-politician. So I think a lot of people, this is kind of the year for non-politicians in the Republican Party, which is interesting because a lot of these guys, like Trump is no conservative. I mean, he's never been a conservative. So it's interesting that he's even running on the Republican primary, except that I think that he knows he would stand a better chance on the Republican ticket. But
with Carson, it was always like, "So, Mr. Carson, what do you think of, what's your foreign policy?" And he'd be like, "Mr. Carson," he'd be, "Oh." It's almost like he had fallen asleep between each topic, and they had to wake him up.
Yeah, I was eating up those SNL skits on Saturday Night Live of the different debates. They were hilarious. I mean, I think Ben Carson had some great ideas. He just, I don't know what happened. I guess he lost his fire or whatever. But it is what it is. I mean, I guess and I'm still in denial because even though they're basically just decided, I'm still thinking to myself, the conventions haven't happened yet. Maybe there's still a chance for one of them to not be the nominee.